What's going on, guys? I'm back with another video about the HBO Harry Potter TV series. We have our first look at some on-set photos, and I want to talk about it. The other day I made a video discussing the photo of Dominic McLaughlin, aka Harry Potter, on set during Hogwarts scenes. But now it's time to talk about the Dursleys, and I have a lot of thoughts. But first, if you enjoy this video, please consider liking and sharing. It will greatly help to grow and sustain the channel. And if you like what you see, hit that subscribe button, and you can also follow me on all of my other social medias, all of which I link down below, and all of which house similar content that I make here on this channel. This is your home for all things to do with the HBO series, whether it's news, breaking down photos, breaking down trailers, and eventually breaking down each episode once the show comes out. It's all gonna be here. So again, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss anything. Now let's get into this. I'm excited. So first we'll look at the photos of Dominic McLaughlin on set, and as you can see, he's wearing the glasses, he has the messy dark hair. Once again, I talked about this in my last video, but he has the scar that is a lot further over than I would have thought, because in the book it was in the middle, and then in the movies they moved it over like a little bit, and now it's like all the way over on his temple. But I will say, not to get off topic, but I will say that the scar actually does look more like a scar than it did in the movies, where it was kind of just like a red line. Like, this looks like a legitimate scar. But he looks relatively the same as what we saw him in Hogwarts, but obviously he's wearing a sweatshirt that says Ace Sports that is very 90s coded. First, we'll look at the photos that we have of Vernon Dursley and Aunt Petunia. Now, I was worried that they cast two people that were way too good looking to be playing this couple, but they gave them a huge glow down. So some things to focus on, obviously Uncle Vernon's mustache, and the fact that Aunt Petunia is blonde. Now that's a big deal to me, who wants to see everything be book accurate. So actually having her have blonde hair when the actress did not have blonde hair herself is actually really exciting for me. I actually took screenshots of how each character was described. For Vernon, he was a big, beefy man with hardly any neck, although he did have a very large mustache. And in other parts of the series, they do describe that he has brown hair. So let's take a look at Uncle Vernon. He does have the dark hair, he has the mustache. In the book, it was never described that he had glasses, but I am glad that they added that because, again, makes it very 90s. While he has the mustache, he obviously does not have the bulk that Vernon is supposed to have. But I will say, with the collar on the shirt, it actually does make it look like he has very little neck, which was probably done on purpose, so I appreciate that. And now we'll look at Petunia Dursley's description. Mrs. Dursley was thin and blonde and had nearly twice the usual amount of neck. Looking at this photo, she actually does have a pretty long neck, and I think again they did that with the clothes because they kind of gave her a wider collar that showed more of her neck down here as well. So shout out to the costume designer, guys. Each outfit for each member of the Dursley family suits them and their characters very well and matches the description of them in the books, even if all their physical features aren't actually book accurate. Also, looking at these glasses, they are the most 90s glasses I have ever seen, and this gets me really hype because, as I tweeted a few days ago, this show is staying super true to the fact that this book takes place in 1991, and clearly they're all in on that, which I love. And also, this will give it a very different vibe than the film, which is something that I've always been kind of worried about, is are they just going to do the exact same thing, or are they going to do something unique and different to make it stand out and be separate from the movies? And looking at this, I think this is the first step to realize that yes, they are making this unique and their own project. And that brings us to our look at Dudley Dursley. For Dudley, it said, Dudley looked a lot like Uncle Vernon. He had a large pink face, not much neck, small watery blue eyes, and thick blonde hair that lay smoothly on his thick fat head. So basically, he's a very ugly guy. And now comparing that to the onset Dudley, he obviously does not have the blonde hair. He's obviously not that fat. As I said in my last HBO series video, this actor looks more in shape than fat, which lines up with Dudley if you get to the Order of the Phoenix, where he became a boxer, lost all that weight, and got super strong. So yeah, for Dudley, it's actually not too book accurate. Now, first off, looking at his face, I don't know if he posed for this or if the photographer just had perfect timing, but this perfectly reflects the fact that Dudley has a pig face. Like, that's literally how he's described in the book. And honestly, I have never seen a human make a better pig face than that. So that's pretty cool. And honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, they could actually be filming a scene right there and they told him, make a pig face because Dudley has a pig face. But getting back to the 90s, I want to look at his clothes. So I was born in 1995, and honestly, the 90s, I've always been obsessed with them. It is my favorite decade by far, even though I only lived like 5 years in it, and honestly, more like 4 because I was born in December. But I know a lot about the 90s, and seeing the shiny, crinkly nylon fabric is like iconic 90s sportswear. Like if you watch old American sports, all the coaches are wearing stuff like this. And it's kind of like a windbreaker. And honestly, I have a few of these and I cannot tell you how freaking loud they are when you move. It makes me wonder if they actually had to do something while filming to make sure it didn't crinkle too much. But another really cool part about this windbreaker is the color blocking. The sharp contrast between the like pastel blue, gray, and white. Like color blocking was a huge trend with jackets in the 90s. And going back to Uncle Vernon, he has something very similar with kind of like the red, white color blocking with the red stripe. And moving on from that, we also have a shot of their shoes. They're also classic 90s. They're like the chunky sole. And I'm pretty sure they have the Velcro tabs. And also with him is this boy, who is Piers Polkiss. He was not in the movie, but in the book, he went to the zoo with Dudley. So that's yet another way that they are making the show stand out from the movies and be more unique and also book accurate. So he's being played by an actor named Mickey McNulty. And he has a few credits. He was in a movie called Blitz as a luggage rack boy, meaning he probably didn't do much. And then he was also in a TV series called Trying, which he was actually in 11 episodes of. So this shows that he actually has some acting experience, more so than many of the other cast so far. And here's a better picture of him as Piers. And also, we see that he's holding an ice cream cone, and someone else is getting handed an ice cream cone, which is probably Dudley, but could also be Harry, because in the book, there was a scene where they all got ice cream, and normally Vernon and Petunia would be like, no, Harry doesn't get any. But the ice cream man that was selling the ice cream went up to Harry and said, what do you want? And before Petunia and Vernon could stop him from getting the cone, it was too late. So that's probably what this scene is. And sticking with the 90s theme, we also have this tweet from Harry Potter News that says, filming for the upcoming Harry Potter series on HBO Max was seen yesterday, and they said cars from the 90s have been spotted for a scene with a milkman. So once again, we see that they are being very authentically 90s with these cars. And this is interesting because in the movies, they actually had a Vauxhall car from 2000, which basically tells us that the movies are an alternate timeline that are in the 2000s, not the 1990s. And I theorized on that in several videos when I was doing my Easter egg breakdowns of each movie. But I still gotta finish that series. I can't tell you how many times people are like, when's Deathly Hallows Part 1 and Part 2 Easter eggs coming? It's coming, but I don't know when, man. It takes so much work to make those videos, and I just haven't had the time with Wesley being born. Yeah, if you didn't know, I just had a baby. He just turned 2 months. And another thing that I want to go over in this video is the fact that the studio has now built a school for the child actors to attend during filming, which they said they will use over the next 8 to 10 years, meaning they have full faith that this show is going to make it all the way through to book 7. And listen, I hope they do. The confidence that they have makes me excited because they do truly believe in the work that they're doing. Filming this is obviously going to be a gigantic task, and there are rumors and speculations that are somewhat based around what people have said, but none of it is really confirmed. But apparently they are filming seasons 1 and 2 back to back, which would explain why they cast Lucius Malfoy as well as Cornelius Fudge, both of whom don't appear until book 2. And on top of that, people are saying that both season 1 and season 2 will be 6 episodes each, while the rest of the series will be 8 episodes. And honestly, I feel like they're gonna need way more episodes or more seasons for some of the bigger books like Goblet of Fire, Order of the Phoenix, and honestly Half-Blood Prince and Deathly Hallows. Pretty much all of them except for the first 3 books. I think adding more seasons or more episodes is the only way to truly get every single detail from the books, which obviously they won't be able to get everything. But when they announced this show, they did promise that it would be way more book accurate and would cover way more than the films did. So I have high hopes. That's really all that I wanted to cover in this video. The other day, I did upload a video that was really fun to make where I went over the most expensive Harry Potter fan film ever made called The House of Gaunt, which you can see here. I'll link it below and I'll probably put it on the screen, but that was a lot of fun to make and I put a decent amount of work into it, so if you're interested, go check it out. I think it's a fun watch. That's all I have for you guys today though. Thank you so much for watching and I will see you in the next video.